In this video, I'll show you how to set up a private B2B or member-only section in your WooCommerce shop. To do this, we'll use the WooCommerce Protected Categories plugin from Barn2. I'll walk you through the setup, how to make parts of your store private, and even how to add a membership login page which users can access from your site menu. Now, there are plenty of reasons why you might want to add some level of password protection to sections of your store. In my case, I'm showing you an example of a clothing store that wants to create a private member-only merch zone so members can purchase exclusive hoodies, hats, and other things like that. So let's take a look at how this would all work. I can restrict any product category or subcategory, or I can set up user roles which have access once they log into my site. And I can even unlock categories for specific users that I choose. I also have the option to completely hide the categories from my store pages and navigation, or I can choose to show those pages, but they're still protected from purchasing. Now, to follow along with this tutorial, you can try out the plugin's admin demo by visiting our website, or you can simply purchase a copy of the plugin and install it on your own site. In either case, use the first link in the description below. And note that if you're purchasing, it does come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to giving it a go. So with that out of the way, it's time to install the plugin. After purchasing the plugin, you'll get an email with the zip file and a product key for activation. You can download the plugin from your order confirmation or from your account on our website. In the WordPress admin, go to Plugins and click on Add Plugin, then click Upload Plugin, and select the file that you just downloaded, drag it into this box here, click Install, and then Activate. This should launch the setup wizard, but if it didn't, then you can always go to your WooCommerce settings page, click on Products, Protected Categories, and you can enter your license key in the box here, or you can launch the setup wizard manually. Now for the initial setup, I'll just show you the most basic settings, and then later in the video, we can customize things further. The first step in the setup wizard is to enter your license key and activate the plugin. Then you can click Next. In the second step, there are some options for displaying the private products in your public-facing store and in navigation menus. If you want your products to remain completely private, you can uncheck these boxes. But to allow the products to be seen but not purchased, you can check these boxes. You also have the option to allow anyone with a valid password or only logged in users to access the private products. For user and role protection, you can simply use the WordPress login page that's already set up by default, or you can choose a custom login page. And from this list, you can choose the page from your site. We'll go into more details on this a little bit later on in the video. Then you can select what logged out users will see, whether they'll see a login page or a page not found error, which is a more private option. These settings are for setting up your password, and you can modify them as needed. You can optionally set up a password login page where users can unlock their category, or you can use the category login shortcode on any page to add a password login option. And that's it for the setup wizard. Now we can head to the settings page and finish setting up the plugin. With the plugin now set up, we need to add protection to some of our store's different categories. I'll just show you one example, but you can protect as many different categories as you like, including their subcategories as well. So to do this, you first just need to navigate to Products and then click on Categories. Now you can either add a new category from scratch on the left here, and you can set up the visibility protection options here on the bottom left, but I'll show you how to do this in a category that you've already created, as I've done here. So I created this member exclusive category, and I'll click on Edit, then I'll scroll down to the bottom, and instead of public, I'll switch it to protected. This is pretty much the main action of the plugin. Now there are 3 different types of protection that I can set up. In the password option, I can add as many passwords as I like or remove them with this button here. You can make them as fancy or uncomplicated as you like, as it's really up to you and what level of security you want to provide. The second option is user roles. So these are the sort of roles that are set up in WordPress, such as subscriber, author, contributor. I think subscriber is a great role for this. And then when your users, that would be the users on your site, have logged in, If they are a subscriber, they can access this category. You can choose as many roles as you like. So you might want to choose subscriber and all the roles which you consider as being higher tier than that. So maybe a shop vendor, contributor, editor, and so on. Then in the users section, you can actually select individual users. So let me just find my own account. Let's go with Sam Wayne's Media, and let's add one more just for fun. So you can actually add individual users to unlock this category. Now, there's not really much point in having all three of these activated at the same time. In fact, it's probably a little bit more confusing to do that. Most people will probably just need one type of protection. For example, the role protection, or instead maybe the password protection. I'm going to leave the password protection set up at the moment, and we can change this later on. So let's go back to the main categories page, and you can set up this password protection or user/role protection for any of the categories that you already have or any new categories that you create. Now, what about subcategories? So you can see that this is actually a subcategory here. And if I click on edit, you can see it's a subcategory of the member exclusive one. Now, by setting the protection to public, it will actually inherit the protection from the main parent category. If you click on protected, then you'll have to set up the password protection or user or role protection all over again. So I'll leave it on public, and by doing that, it inherits the same level of protection. You can see here in the list, it's inherited from the parent category. Now that the category is set up, don't forget to add some products into this category so your users can actually buy them once they're logged in. I set up a few copies of different products earlier, and by editing the category that they're in, we can make sure that they're protected. So instead of showing up in the hats category, we're actually going to put them into the member exclusive category, and then click on update, and that will give this item the protection provided by the category. I'll go back and do the same thing on this one as well. But for the hoodie, I'm going to add it to the subcategory of exclusive hoodies that I created earlier, and then click on update. Now, both of these items will have password protection. Now, one important thing to note is that if the same product is in both a protected and unprotected category, it will be protected by default. So if you want to sell the same product on both sides of the store, protected and non-protected, you actually have to create a copy of this product and set each of them up in these separate categories. But with all that said, let's see how the plugin is performing on the front end of our site from the perspective of a customer. So here on my main shop page, I can scroll down and find the exclusive hoodies are listed among the public products. But instead of the select options, which allows you to purchase, you can only see this read more button. And when I click on read more, it wants me to enter a password. So I'll enter that now and click on submit. So now I can purchase the product because I was able to log in with the password. But perhaps it's not entirely obvious to your customers where to find these member exclusive items. In that case, it's a good idea to add them to your site's navigation. For example, adding them to your menu. So let's take a look at how to do that now. I'll head back to the WordPress admin and then go to appearance and click on menus. Now, depending on what kind of theme you're running, this might be in a different place, or you might have to set it up a bit differently, but the principle is the same. Now, instead of the pages, we're going to add a product category, the member exclusive and exclusive hoodies, and we'll add them to our menu. So those have been added here, and I'm just going to indent this so it'll appear as a sub item, and then click on save my menu, go back to my home page, and member exclusive as well as exclusive hoodies has been added as a category in my site. So all of these items, which I've added before to the category, will appear here. And if I'm not logged in yet, I'll first be met with a prompt to enter my password. And after I submit that, I can see the items and purchase them as normal. But what if instead you don't want these categories to be visible to all shoppers before they've logged in? Now, I quickly want to show you the settings page for this plugin. So I'll click on WooCommerce settings and then click on products. And there's a tab for protected categories. Now, under category visibility, these items do need to be checked in order for the categories to be visible on your site's menu. If these are unchecked, you won't be able to see them in the menu, even after following the steps I just showed you. Now, this will have the effect of making all of our private categories also hidden, which would leave your members with no obvious way to log in and purchase those products, which is why it's better to create a single login page and add it to your menu, so members can log in from that page and see all of the hidden categories. So to set up the login page for your customers, it just depends on what kind of protection you already set up. So categories that are protected simply by a password can be accessed by just entering that password, and then all of those contents will be visible. My point is that the visitor doesn't actually need to be logged into your WordPress site in the more traditional sense. Now, to create a central login page for your password protected categories, go to the plugin settings page and select a page from the central login option. So in this case, I'm choosing the member login page, which I may have set up in advance of this video. You might have to set this up by yourself in the pages section of your website by clicking add page and then calling it member login. You can also set up the heading and content for this page and then the password label. There's a placeholder option for the text of the password, and you can edit the submit button text as well. You can also set the expiry for passwords if that's something you want to set up. This doesn't mean that the password itself will stop working, but rather that users will have to re-log in again after this number of days using their password. So first I'll click on Save Changes here, and then I'll go to my pages and click on All Pages and find that member login page. Click on Edit, and all that's here on the page is the category login shortcode. So in the block editor, you can add a shortcode block and add the shortcode category_login, then click on Save, and let's open this in a new tab, and we can see that this is our member login page now. I even suggest going ahead back in your menu and adding this page in particular, member login, into your menu. This is an alternative to adding the categories directly into your menu. Now, when I refresh my website, I can see a member login option, which brings us to this page. And if I click on member exclusive, seeing as we're already logged in, we can see the products here. With user or role protection, however, the categories will automatically be unlocked as soon as somebody actually logs into their account on your website. This means that you don't need a special login form for your protected categories. You just need a normal user login form. Now, this isn't actually part of the plugin as it's a default function within WordPress. But in any case, here are some different ways that you can allow these users to log into their account on your website. Now, we're back in the plugin settings page, and you can see under user and role protection, you can just use the default WordPress login page, but I actually suggest choosing a custom login page, and for that, choose the account page, as this is a more professional way of setting things up. Make sure that your account is accessible from somewhere on your website's navigation, and then logged out users are going to be shown a login page, assuming that you have this setting enabled, whenever they try to access their WooCommerce account page. Now, if you'd like new users to register to your website, I've included a knowledge base article in the description below, which you can read to learn how to set that up. Now, I did mention a few times that if you uncheck the category visibility options, then all of the items will disappear from your site for logged out users. Let's just see how that looks. So when I visit my shop page, I can see all of the public facing items, but none of the exclusive member only items. The only thing I can see is the member login link. I can click on that, enter the password, and now all of the items are not only visible on this member exclusive category page, but they're also visible when I go to the main shopping page. You can see the exclusive item next to the non-exclusive item here. And if you want to redirect users to a specific WooCommerce category after they log in, I've added a knowledge base link in the description below this video for you. So that's been an introduction to our WooCommerce Protected Categories plugin. I hope you really enjoyed the video, and if it was useful for you, I'd appreciate if you hit that like button. Thank you so much. If you want to test out a live demo of this plugin, you can try it with this link here. Or maybe you need to go the extra step and add wholesale roles to your shop. Well, I just made a video about that, which you can watch right up here. And of course, thanks for watching.